The Force is easily the most important aspect of a Jedi's life. It helps guide and teach them and allows them to protect the galaxy. Now, with that being said, there are boundaries for the Jedi when it comes to using the Force. If a Jedi misuses the Force, it can be the beginning of their journey to the dark side. So in today's video, I wanted to talk about 5 Force techniques that are forbidden for most Jedi. I say most Jedi because there are exceptions to these, which I'll talk about later on. So the first forbidden ability on our list is somewhat simple and kind of an obvious one. It is Force Grip. Now, despite the name, Force Grip isn't just lifting things up. That's just basic telekinesis. Force Grip, as described by Salba Mandabu, an ancient Jedi seer, is the act of using the Force to hoist an enemy in the air or to close air from their tracheas. You may know this ability as Force Choke. Vader uses it a lot throughout the original trilogy. So did Luke in Return of the Jedi. George wanted to let the audience know that it was possible for Luke to turn by the end of this movie. This ability goes against what Yoda tells him about how the Jedi are supposed to use the Force. In the words of Yoda, a Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and for defense, never for attack. The second ability on our list is Morikro. Despite the fact that it's technically not a dark side ability, Morikro was actually banned by several different Jedi councils throughout the years. Morikro was similar to a Force trance that Jedi would often do on themselves to place themselves in hibernation when they needed to. Morikro is the act of slowing down a being's metabolism, breathing, and heart rate. However, unlike a Force trance, Morikro was used on opponents to render them unconscious for a specific period of time, or indefinitely. This technique was rediscovered by Jedi Master Yaddle. It was forbidden by ancient Jedi Knights, so the information was hard to come by. According to Yaddle, the information was barely hinted at in 3 separate holocrons, so she pieced together the information and learned the technique. Now, according to Yaddle, this ability was very dangerous. The target had to be closely monitored. If a practitioner of Morikro failed to reverse the process, then the target would die, sometimes from dehydration and sometimes from starvation. Yaddle was allowed to teach a few students this technique. However, the Jedi Order eventually forbade it due to its potential danger. Next on our list is Force Insanity. Force Insanity was a dark side ability that invaded the victim's psyche with sinister energies and drew on their primal fear. This caused victims to become paralyzed with horror. Some victims of this would often be drawn into permanent madness. We get one example of this in the Darth Bane trilogy. Darth Bane's apprentice, Darth Zana, would use Sith magic to show her victims horrifying visions of their worst fears, and it often caused people to go insane. Another example of this can be seen in Knights of the Old Republic 1 or 2. If this ability works well, it can cause an enemy to shut down and be unable to move for a few turns. This next ability is really cool in my opinion. This Force technique is called Deadly Sight. Deadly Sight is the ability to harness a Force user's anger and hatred and project them through an intense glare onto the victim. If the glare was strong enough, the victim could experience blistering skin, and if it was really strong, then they could be completely vaporized, as long as the victim was in the range of vision. Now, this ability was incredibly rare even among the Sith. However, it became increasingly more popular among the generation of Sith in the last decades of the conflict between the Brotherhood of Darkness and the Jedi Order. In the Imperial era, it was used by Dark Jedi Saris while fighting Kyle Katarn in the game Dark Forces 2. The last banned Force ability on our list is Emerald Lightning. Now, Emerald Lightning is closely related to Sith Force Lightning, although it's not exactly the same thing. Emerald Lightning is the ability that involves spraying electric bolts from the hands and fingers. Very similar to Force Lightning, however, Emerald Lightning springs from a determined sense of justice and uses the light side of the Force rather than the dark side. However, due to its close similarities to Sith Lightning, it was forbidden for most Jedi. Some Jedi Masters, like Plo Koon, who could control his emotions, were allowed to use this ability. Luke Skywalker also used this ability for a short while. So there are 5 forbidden Force abilities. I definitely understand why a few of them are forbidden. Many Force abilities, even light side abilities, can be tempting for Jedi Knights. But what do you all think? And what's your favorite forbidden Force technique? It doesn't necessarily have to be from this video. But thank you guys so much for watching. May the Force be with you all.